Welcome to January 2025. I'm happy to be here, happy to move forward, happy with the way things have been going for Feral Publication, and just really excited about what I plan to do this year. As many of you guys know, every year I collect all the money that I made throughout the year selling zines, comic stickers, buttons, shirts, whatever else I sell. Link in the show notes if you're interested in that stuff. But I take that and I look for ways to just elevate Feral Publication. The idea is to empower marginalized voices and to amplify those voices as well. But secondly, it's also this question about narrative distribution, about not only what stories are being told, who's telling these stories, but who hears these stories. That's kind of the twofold intersection where Feral Publication finds itself, trying to do both of those things. So I have already made the purchase for the equipment. It is showing up little by little. It's assuming that the last package will be here sometime the ending of January, and I can't wait to really just unpack all that stuff and really just set up that new situation and then start the process of learning how to use it and what works and doesn't work for me as a creator. So that's going to be something fun to check out throughout the year. The second thing is that I've seen that there's a lot of fears and anxieties going forward, and a lot of it's for a multitude of reasons, but we'll stick to Feral Publication and what we're up to on this channel. And the comic book industry, a lot of people are saying, is on the verge of dying. It's on its last gasp. Some of it is the AI stuff, which AI art is going to exist and people are going to purchase that if they want that. But there's always going to be the flip that people want to see the human touch to art. And that's what I'm going to lean into. And I'm not going to worry about other stuff that other people are making. But don't worry about me and the shit that I make and the shit that I'm publishing and promoting to other people. The other side of that is this idea that there's less money being made in comics, and that's not objectively true. The reality is that a lot of the way they forecast the sales for the comic book industry are based off of large segments, right? So looking at Amazon sales, Barnes and Nobles, Diamond Distribution, and there's a lot of independent creators nowadays that have bypassed all that, myself included. And so we bypass that, and that's not really being accounted for. Independent publishing is on the rise, but no one really knows how to quantify it because so much of it is either through ebooks or, like I said, direct to consumer, right? So I print it and I mail it to you, and in that way they don't really know how much the independent publishing community is making. And it could be one of those things that we're all making a little bit and none of us are really making a lot. But even to me, that's a good thing. The problem with a lot of the information that we see, a lot of this alternative media is spawned from the idea that there's a concentration and centralization of stories and who tells these stories and how these stories reach people. And that centralization is what I find to be disturbing. And that's why Feral Publication exists, because I knew that an alternative media company needed to exist to challenge people on the way they think and the way they see arts, specifically comic book art. And that's the other side of it too. People that are making comic books just for the sake of money probably shouldn't be here anyways. I'm not going to be sad to see them go. I always think of this person that tabled next to me at Kamikaze the first year, which later became known as the LA Comic-Con or Stan Lee's Comic-Con, and he was a defunct screenplay writer, and he turned his screenplay into a comic book by paying an artist to make the art, and he didn't sell shit at that Comic-Con, and he was outraged and he couldn't understand why he couldn't do it. Comic books is his own medium, and there's pacing involved, and there's all these motifs, artistic motifs, that you have to care about the craft to really get it dialed in, to be considered a good comic book. And so when you're doing it just as a cash grab, if you're doing it as a segue to the next thing, the thing that really matters to you, then I think that most readers read it and it falls flat. And so I think that aspect might be getting pushed out of the comic book industry, because this is really a medium and a craft for people that really love the medium and the craft, and it's not necessarily the segue into Hollywood, animation, or whatever some folks see it as. The other thing that people have been worried about are the tariffs. I don't think tariffs are really going to disrupt the comic book industry as a whole, because the two major companies, which is DC, is done through Warner Media, and they have their own infrastructure to do the manufacturing in-house, as well as Marvel is owned by Disney, and all their manufacturing is done in-house by Disney. And so that's not going to be a problem, because the two major foundations to the comic book industry as we know it are not really going to be disrupted. There is going to be Image, Dark Horse, and other publishers like that are going to have to figure out their own new system. And some people are estimating that it'll probably be about $20 to $40 million more on the publishing cost. Not necessarily something that we're going to deal with either, because like I said, that new equipment I'm really excited about, and I think it's going to help take Feral Publication to another level. And once I figure it out, there's going to be more that I'm going to talk about throughout the year. I'm focusing on the shit that I can do, and one of the things that I can do is really just empower different creators to create different stories, and then just really amplify and spread those stories far and wide, so that way we don't all just become these dogmatic beings that read the same shit, see the same shit, feel the same shit, think the same shit. Like, that's not the life that I want to live, and I don't think that's the life that many people want to live. So that's what we're up to for 2025. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And Feral Publication is where weird calls home, and weird is something that the world needs right now. Lates.